everyone, Francisco here, and I came up with another concept, thought that we can probably use, all of us in the world, in our lives, especially when it comes to utilizing free energy. So we won't exhaust natural resources and waste electricity that was generated, because it puts wear and tear on the units, so it just fucks with the generators and the machinery when we turn on like the AC or the heater, just electricity, power, right? So someone has to pay for the windmills and whatever else, right? And there's nothing wrong with it. It gets done regardless. It gets done. But my concept, my idea was, first of all, I was thinking about creating a cool spot in an area in a yard. So in order to grow vegetation that requires shade, so this will be very good, especially in a desert landscape, like Barstow, California, where it's super hot and super intensively hot, so basically what I was thinking like these grapevine things that hold the vines, and also like a retaining wall which will absorb the majority of the heat from the sun, so it will not allow it to pass or transfer to this other area. And obviously, the more retaining walls, layers that you have, the heat will stay hotter where it is mostly contacted, so most of the heat will stay where it has direct sunlight contact, where the sun rays have contact on the surface, or the object, and obviously it's going to cast a shadow, right? But regardless of all that, I was thinking like metal, and because it conducts heat, right? I mean, it's a conductor of heat or cool temperatures. So, I mean, I can take the time to fuck around with like Photoshop and like a image editor, or like go online and look at, different examples, by images, so I can illustrate the ideas better, for better comprehension, for people to understand and to maybe adopt these concepts in their lives or whatever, or for their own lives, their own um, pleasure or whatever. So basically, all it is like a retaining wall. And I was thinking the heat has to go somewhere. The heat has to go somewhere. So I was thinking, well, maybe that heat can have like a big tray of like water. So as the object is getting heated, the majority of the heat, or before the heat goes anywhere else, is going to get transferred and heat up that water, which takes a lot of energy to heat up water, right? It takes a lot of energy. And it also takes a lot of energy for it to get cooled down, right? But that's kind of like besides the point. I'm not getting there yet. But so like I was in, for as another example, I was in Ironwood State Prison. And I think it's close to Blythe. Yeah, it is Blythe, California. And it's extremely hot. It's pretty much like out here in Redding in the summer. It gets really, really hot. Very annoying hot. Especially if you're outside all the time and you can't afford AC, so you're always like hot and you're always under direct sunlight. It's just miserable. And then to make matters worse, what's happening is that there's a cement wall, you know, like retaining wall, but it's a wall that makes up the building, the structure, and the sun is just hitting on that wall all day long. It heats it up. It's 100 and something degrees outside, 3-digit degree weather. It's like 110, 120, and that heat has to go somewhere, right? So what I was thinking was maybe there could be like wires or a good conductor of heat for that energy to flow into the water to heat that up. So now the water has somewhere to the heat has somewhere to go, and is getting directed. It's getting directed naturally to the water, you know? So the metal, stainless steel, something that won't get rusted, is it's conducting that heat and transferring that energy to the water, because it wants somewhere to go. It's reacting. So when we are in the cell, like the size of a restroom, we're in there, we're trapped in there, we can't go anywhere. They close the door, they lock it. We're like caged animals. We're like fucking, like a breeder, like inside of a breeder's farm. We can't go anywhere. We're just trapped there. And that heat wants to go somewhere. It needs to go somewhere because it's reacting, right? The heat is reacting. It wants to go somewhere where it's cool. And, you know, if there's anywhere that's cool, that that fucking that heat is trying to go and is trying to cool down. So it's like opposite forces opposing each other, right? So I was even thinking about, so that's another idea, right? So the first idea is, the retaining wall with a, with a, like a pool or like a container with water filled up, so it can maximize the cooling procedure naturally, freely. Basically, it's free. Once you fill that shit up, that's all you have to do. And the cooling over here on the other side of the wall, the sun's over here. The sun's over here. This is the wall. The water containers down here. And then this is your cooling area, the area you want cool. So it's doing it for free. See what the fuck I'm talking about? So you're not spending money on fucking electricity. You just fucking fill this thing up with water. Of course, this unit, this setup requires fucking money. But in the long run, you're better off going with this, and you're saving fucking money. So you're better off going with this approach. Now, and then the other one was, doing the same thing for like these fucking walls in prison, so people won't fucking roast to death. Because, if it's 120 outside, just think about how much the temperature it is inside. It's like 10 times hotter. Now, so that was the second point. The third point was, what if we somehow used different containers, like say 20-gallon containers of water that get pumped outside during the day with a pump, electricity. So this what I'm talking about will be recycled water. It will not be wasted water. This whole unit, basically, what will happen is the water will be contained and not wasted, and it will always be contained in these containers. So where would the other containers be at? Well, they will be inside the house. So during the day, the water gets pumped out. And what's happening? The water is getting hot, right? From the heat. It's like a solar panel. It's sucking up all that heat. And then where do you want that heat to be at night? You want it inside the house, right? So you run the pump, and that water gets drawn back into the house containers, and it creates that little hot spot. And then you can have it, because there's sensors, there's temperature controls. So if it gets a little bit, once it gets at a certain temperature, like cold, it could even be pumped out, and it will, for the next day or the next phase when the sun comes out, so it could heat it up. And then once the sun starts going down and the house starts getting a little bit cold, that water will get, pumped into the house. And then once that energy starts dropping, that water will get pumped back out. And this will be automatic. It will just happen day in, day out, day in, day out. This will be your heating system during the night. And for as a cooling system during the day, um, I don't know, like we can think about different ideas, but I was just thinking about that. And some people do that. There is systems like that already, especially with water that goes down into the ground. It goes down into the ground, and then they, pump it out because it's colder. So during the day, water can be recycled underground and then drawn back up just to cool the area. And basically, this water is contained. So it's not, vaporizing into the air. It's not being wasted whatsoever. It's just 100% recyclable. So I'm just thinking about ideas like that for like an easier, more convenient, or eco-friendly approach to warm or provide warmth during the night, during the cold nights, because there's a lot of heat during the day, and it might not pan out. I don't know. I'm just thinking about this stuff, but it will, for if it's super super hot outside and there's water in a container, most of that heat will get transferred into the water, especially if there's some type of conductors to force that heat or draw that heat into the water. You see what I'm saying? So if we can come up with stuff like that, then we can technically provide a cooling and heating system for basically everyone. And I don't understand how everything will work, as far as the heating and cooling, but we do have, technology that can handle all that stuff. So it would just be a matter of, thinking it through, building the whole system, and then, you know, beta testing it, like testing it somewhere, a classroom, a group of students can test it and determine if it works or not. And then if there's, bugs, if there's issues with it, then they can fix it before, you know, attempting to try to sell someone on it, you know. But if it can be a guarantee, like right now, if I was creating like a YouTube ad and I said, hi everyone, like this is, such and such company, and we're offering these new fucking heating systems, so you won't be cold at night. You're saving on money. You're saving money on your electricity bill, you know, by fucking, you know, 25%. Then a lot of people will say yes. And and basically it's saving a lot of money for everyone, I mean, think about it. If it was 25%, and that affected every single person in the world, then that means these people that provided the electricity or whatever, it'll be minus 25% deducted from their revenue streams, right? So it wouldn't really be good for them, but it would be good for everyone else, right? So we have to think about more conventional ways, more fucking smart ways to fucking, do all this stuff. So how would this idea be good in other formats? Well, here I am, 20 minutes strong. And another format is like a dog house. People have their fucking dogs in a fucking kennel. Their dog houses gets fucking hot. Some people put them in direct sunlight, and it's fucking sad. It must be miserable for the dog, and or the dogs plural, you know. But that's when this retaining wall, this gate or fence or whatever, this metal gets installed, and then somehow applying or installing some form of metal that gets submerged into the water so the heat can have somewhere to go. And like I said, it'll heat up the water. And I don't know if it will be better for the water to be facing the sun, or for it to be out of the way of the sun. So basically, not in direct sunlight, but hidden. So basically, it will be the wall, and then the wall will shade the water. See what I'm saying? So I'm painting a different picture, a different design. So it's either you have the water container and then the wall, so the sun is having direct contact with the water and the wall, or you have the wall, so the sun is hitting the wall and then the water's over here. So now basically you're just transferring this heat from that's getting conducted on the wall and transferring that heat to the water. And then that can have some fucking air vents to ventilate it elsewhere, like above, similar to a house, setup, like a toilet, restroom toilet, sinks. That the water, the moisture, and the air ventilation stuff gets ventilated with some form of PVC pipe up the fucking roof, the ceiling to the roof up there, capped off, all that shit. So something like that. Especially if the water during the day that's heated up is placed outside of thermo containers, like the thermo cups, like my thermo coffee container here. It's thermo, and it guarantees to hold that moisture for a very, very long time. Now, so like in order to pass a lot of hours, like during the night from 12 a.m. all the way to like 4 a.m. And then that water can get transferred into the house when the temperatures drop like a motherfucker. So now you want that energy, right? You stupid fucking bitch. Right? Or you want to continue talking shit? I'm sorry. Outburst of anger. I just hear a lot of negative thoughts, you know? So don't take it personally. So, so yeah, right? You want that fucking water. You want that fucking heat. One way or the other. Whether you're turning on the fucking heater or you're fucking fingering yourself, bitch. Or you're using a heater, fucking a blower, fucking hair blower, something to produce fucking heat. You're turning on a candle, something, right? Regardless of the fact you want that fucking heat. So it'll be programmed to do it naturally without you having to fucking wake your fucking lazy ass up, all exhausted, half awake, half asleep, mummifying yourself all the way to, walking like a fucking zombie, like a fucking mummy, like the Walking Dead, to the fucking, wherever, to push a fucking button just so the water can go inside the house, just so you could be warm, just so you could be happy and not cold. Yeah, just for those reasons. Exactly. Exactly, bitch. So, but only if it proves to fucking work effectively and obviously saving money and shit like that. Because if it doesn't, who the fuck would want to even consider it? Right? I mean, I'm not a fucking professional. I'm just passing this down to the professionals. And they could evaluate it or not, and then determine if it's a good idea or not. And if it is, then fuck it. Some experiments can be performed. That's what I'm talking about. You know? But who has time for that? Professionals. That's exactly what the fuck they get paid for. Right? And we're all working for each other at the end of the day, like someone comes up with the better fucking idea, they sell the idea, people buy it. The people selling it, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about the competition. Like fuck you. I'm helping people save money. And I'm making money because I'm helping them save money. That's just the way it works. It's business. It's not no hard feelings. So just instead of thinking like on a large scale, think about a small scale. Like think about like a birdhouse. Think small. Because after all we are is animals. We're fucking we're just what is it called again? We are the we are the most dominant or more intellectual. creatures or whatever on this planet. Anyway, we're like the smartest, I guess, the smartest. But I guess like for thinking stuff, I think. I mean, unless we can make a dog speak, and then we can determine if the dog is smarter than a human brain or not. Like, wait a minute, you can think about all this stuff? I guess, like, because if I never went to school, I would be a fucking retarded fucking gorilla little monkey living in the forest. And I would have probably died a long time ago because I'm fucking retarded. I would have been eaten a long time ago by something else. Someone would have fucking eaten me as a little snack. And I would have been gone a long time ago. But no, someone decided to train me, to teach me, so I could be smart. Think about it. And education is free. We have to thank those in authority for everything they give us. Even our parents. Some parents are stupid as a motherfucker. You know? But everyone has their own experiences in life. You know, I'm fucking retarded, but thankfully I have the internet, and the internet is filled with knowledge and wisdom. It's just filled with it. And that's why I love the internet so much. Because, you know, there's some people who just want to talk about the same type of ways of earning money or whatever, and but there's millions of ways to earn money. Some people don't even want money. They're thinking about ways to fucking spend money. There's smart people out there like that who are fucking like billionaires. They're not thinking about making more money. They're thinking about how to spend money, how to donate money so they won't get taxed up the ass at the end of the year. At least from what I hear. And I don't even know how all that works yet. See, I'm not that smart.